Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And some breaking news, some terrible news, is that reports are coming in that the Rainbow Cup, which was scheduled to start on the 24th of April, later this month, is set to be cancelled as a result of the South African teams not being allowed to travel overseas due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is an incredible setback for pretty much every single rugby union involved in the Rainbow Cup. Before we sort of talk about exactly what's going on, please do subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video as well. We'll be keeping you up to date with exactly what is going on. We had so many big plans for the Rainbow Cup, so absolutely gutted if this is the case. And I think it's just really frustrating, to be honest. And, we're going to talk a bit about why it's been cancelled and why I think it is ludicrous and, why it's sort of for me, it just sort of struggles to continue justifying this whole sort of taboo around sort of South Africa and anything about South Africa and South Africa's traveling when it comes to sport. Because there's so much sport happening globally where players are traveling everywhere and teams are traveling across borders, everything, but there always seems to be different rules for different people, which is really, really frustrating. So where this all sort of hinges is that the SA rugby teams were supposed to be potentially based in Bristol. There were a couple of rumours that all four teams were going to be based in Bristol, or else it was going to be potentially two teams based in Bristol, two teams based in Ireland, and that was where these South African teams were going to be based whilst in the sort of the second leg of the Rainbow Cup. Remembering that the first 3 weeks of the competition, the first 3 rounds, I think it's actually 4 weeks, the South African sides were not going to leave the country. They were going to be based in South Africa and play against each other. They were then going to travel to Europe and play 3 matches against teams from Ireland, Scotland, Italy, and Wales. It hadn't been confirmed yet. The fixtures hadn't been confirmed yet. And that was the plan. And then they were going to return to South Africa unless one of them had, or both two of them had made the final, in which case, they probably would have remained in Europe, or maybe it was going to be a home final if there were 2 South African teams. But likely it is that the final was going to be in Europe. And now it looks like the UK government has kind of turned around and said that they will not grant visas for South Africa. I've been told not to even bother applying because they will not grant visas to the South African teams. This was confirmed by Sharks CEO Edward Coetzee, who said, and I quote, "We have little information at this stage, but it seems to be the case that the Rainbow Cup will be cancelled." Which is, it's ludicrous to sit and think when you've got... we're so close. We are literally 2 weeks to the day. 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, this competition was supposed to kick off. And now it looks like it's going to be cancelled. Once again, we're going to have no opportunity for these players to play rugby or decent standard rugby. They're not going to be match fit for the Lions Tour. We're not going to get to start seeing any of playing against the teams that were supposed to play in the Pro 16. If you want to get a half-baked British and Irish Lions series, this is how you do it. And what frustrates me is on the back of, after all this talk about how we're going to go to the UK and have the British and Irish Lions series and stuff like that, they then confirmed that it was coming to South Africa, but now South Africans can't go to the UK. So, it's apparently it's fine for the British and Irish Lions to come here. There's absolutely no issue that. They can come here and base themselves for 6 weeks, but, there's absolutely no chance that teams can go over to the UK. What frustrates me is this continuous sort of thing that South Africa's got this variant. First of all, there are lots of variants around the world, but because of South African variant, they can't touch South Africa. South Africa currently has not had over 2,000 daily cases since middle of February. I think it's the 18th of February was the last time the South African daily cases hit over 2,000. In the United Kingdom, the last time there were less than 2,000 cases was back in September. So to sit there and say that we can't have anything in South Africa because COVID is so sort of spread out and such a dire situation, the vaccine situation is very dire. The vaccine rollout has been very slow in South Africa. But in terms of active cases, in terms of daily cases, the numbers are really, really low in South Africa. That, and when these teams will travel to the UK, they were supposed to be going into a bio bubble, which means all the players would have been tested. Before they go, they would have been tested. And they will not be allowed to travel if they've tested positive. When they get there, they will be tested. They will be tested probably daily, by every second day, every third day. There were going to be such a stringent measures in place to prevent. I don't understand how, a squad of, let's say, 35 people going into a single hotel, being tested every couple of days, is suddenly going to cause a huge mass outbreak across the UK when they are sitting there preparing to have fans back in stadiums in May, which is when these sides were supposed to go over. You know, they're talking about having fans in the Premier League. They're going to. It's been given permission that in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup final and semi-finals, there will be fans in Wembley. So we can have fans back in stadiums in the UK, but we can't have a team travel and stay in a bubble. We can have the Six Nations tournament took place. We could have England could travel to Ireland, Scotland, Italy, Wales. Those all teams can travel to Italy. We've had Champions League where people are traveling everywhere to Spain, Germany, and all these places. We've had international break with players going to various countries in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, in America, in South America. Well, South Americans didn't really go. But everywhere else they did, and then came back to their clubs. That wasn't an issue, but now this is an issue, and it's really, really frustrating because it stinks of exactly the same sort of reasoning and sort of attitude, and almost arrogance that the Australian Cricket Board had against South Africa when they said they will not send the Australian cricket team to the country because it wasn't safe. And yet, Pakistan are currently the third successful tour in South Africa during the COVID-19 pandemic, where there have been no cases, no issues of complete bubble. We had Sri Lanka toured South Africa during the peak when the COVID-19 pandemic was at its worst in the country. They toured here. There were no major cases and there were no issues there. And so, it's just so frustrating. And I think all the parties are frustrated. You know, looking on Twitter, all the fans were so looking forward to it. I mean, the Irish fans are saying they can't wait to have some more competition. Welsh fans, Scottish fans are saying they'd like to see some new faces, you know, some new players, some new styles of rugby. It was going to be such a really cool introduction to the Pro 16. Apart from anything else, you know, by the end of the month, there's no rugby, no club rugby until September. So this was going to be a nice sort of filler, then the British and Irish Lions series, and then back to club rugby. Now we're going to have a case of there's been no club rugby for 3, 4, 5 months again. It's going to be like having another blooming shut lockdown with just no rugby. So it's incredibly frustrating, and I think I really struggle to see the justification. The only good news, the only sort of silver lining is, first of all, nothing is confirmed as of yet. There is no final confirmation. There is also a couple of rumors that saying that it could be a case of South Africa just won't base themselves in England, and they might have to find a different base in Ireland or Scotland if those governments will sort of allow it. But you know, at this stage, coming from everyone could see it, it looks like the tournament is not going to go ahead. It means that the Springboks are not going to be ready. It means that there's no sort of lost opportunity for British and Irish Lions players to try and sort of make a statement. You know, there's just no positives yet. I think it's very frustrating because I just don't think it's necessary. I think that there was definitely enough opportunities and ways that, you know, precautions could be put in place to ensure this is a safe tournament. You know, we've been playing sport within this environment for almost a year now. You know, May, June was when leagues started coming back. So you've been playing in this environment for 10 months. The amount of lessons that have been learned over the last sort of 10 months, you know, it's working. It is working. It's not ideal without fans, but we've seen sport with fans. We've seen traveling teams manage it without having COVID-19 breaking out. You know, it's been a long and weird journey, but we know we're well and truly there. We're busy preparing for British and Irish Lions series. You know, at this stage, we know it's going to go ahead. We've had Super Rugby Unlocked and the Currie Cup in here, and we haven't had any major breakouts, you know, in the teams. So I think that's the most frustrating thing, is that we are sitting there. I wouldn't say we're not towards the end of the pandemic, but we are so well accustomed now, and we know how to sort of have these tournaments and negotiate the difficulties. And now, at the last sort of minute, literally the last minute, they're sort of denying it, which for me is frustrating because literally on Tuesday we had a German side playing in the UK, no issues there, and it's not like they're going into quarantine period either. They arrive on the Monday, they play it Tuesday, they leave on Wednesday. There's no quarantine period. Whereas this could have been the case where South African teams could have literally landed on like the Sunday and been based at one place, literally in a bubble, not seeing families, not seeing wives and kids, which is what's happening in football and all other professional sports in the UK. They could have literally been in a genuine bubble, much like the sport when they first arrived. But now that's not okay. So that's for me frustrating, because I just don't think that it's been consistent in terms of the rules across the play. So it's very frustrating. We are waiting for final confirmation, so when we do, we'll definitely get a video out and talk about that. But that is currently the situation. Absolutely gutted if it's true. So we have to hope and pray that something changes and then they can try and make a plan, because it is vital for for the British and Irish Lions tour, for everything really, for club rugby and all of it, that we get this tournament going and that we get more rugby ahead of the tournament. Please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Stephen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.